Hi YouTube, Darth here. This is Over Your Shoulder, a series where I follow unsuspecting players and give what is usually unsolicited advice. Today I'm following Toolman, a level 136 that has some good stats and a decent spread of weapons and classes played. Today's round of Over Your Shoulder is on Squad Obliteration, a game mode until this match that I had only read about. The concept is simple: plant, defend, and detonate 2 MCOMs and your team wins. Normally this match type is played with only 5 players versus 5 players, but today's match is a slightly larger 8 versus 8. As I follow over Toolman's shoulder, I'll call out all the good things, the bad things, and the things I might do differently. So let's take a look over Toolman's shoulder. So this is Squad Obliteration. We are waiting for that first bomb to spawn, and there it is. So we might as well move up on this corner and try to cut off the enemy team while somebody goes out and moves towards the bomb. So taking a look at the setup here, it looks like we have the Bulldog with a Coyote, an R2 suppressor, and a folding grip. That Bulldog already has a super low first shot recoil multiplier, so that folding grip is only going to make it better. And Toolman is already doing a good job of tap firing that Bulldog and getting as much use out of that folding grip as possible. Just took a bunch of damage crossing that street. Seeing an enemy in the doorway there, probably want to be a little bit more careful and not line up a shot for the enemy. Probably would have been a better idea there to wait for the health to come back before trying to take the peek in the shot. And it looks like we got picked up by a teammate, so we're going to switch back to Toolman real quick. Toolman managed to get that kill there and preserve the bomb from the enemy team. It looks like the enemy team is pushing that corridor really hard, so I might try to keep a little more attention paid to that spot over there. There's definitely more guys coming through there. And Toolman gets a bit of an assist there from a teammate who absorbs all the bullets. Look out for that grenade, manages to avoid that. Now covering that doorway, we're going to take this enemy out pretty easily. Not bad there. Got a strong start so far. Almost manages to take out this guy. Probably a better idea to be a little bit safer about that peak before rezzing. So good first run there. Looks like the Chinese team is running that bomb in. Possibly going for the Bravo set. Let's take a look here at the tabletop. Yep, that's what they're going for. No coverage there aside from the single enemy. If these two enemies were paying attention to their lane, they probably would have killed him there, but he manages to kill the planter and is starting to defuse of his own. Good cover here by a fellow teammate, doesn't manage to hold his man, he might be in trouble now. Clutch spawn there from his squad mate, and Toolman gets that defuse off in time, even though there's a little bit of danger heading his way. So a well-timed defense there by Toolman, despite the fact that both teams were out of position pretty badly. So let's see if the US team can use this momentum and this smoke cover to try and get a little bit of an advance going on. And we can see from the minimap that the right lane looks like it's completely open, so this is a good opportunity to make the enemy team pay, although I probably would have peeked that just in case there are enemies coming this way. Good spot there on that enemy behind the barricade, but he might be in a little bit of trouble as he's pretty exposed right here with only a pillar to cover himself with. Right now I'd be thinking about where that enemy team has positioned itself and thinking also about the fact that that bomb was really pushed up there and could have been cut down really easily. And there it goes down right there. We've got a bit of a flank possible here. There are a couple of enemies watching this lane, so we have to watch out for them. Gets a little bit out of cover and pays for it dearly. Toolman currently leading the team, looking to get a couple of reses off here. Probably would have worked on getting the enemies cleared out before getting those reses off. Pulls way out of cover, starts getting super aggressive. Going to be in trouble here and gets taken out. So a clearly over-aggressive play there by Toolman, but we are managing to slowly get this bomb towards Charlie. Good flank going on here again. If this flank goes well, we might have a clear path all the way to Alpha, or at least to be able to get on Charlie. It looks like we took out that enemy's beacon, and we took out that enemy. Taking a look at that minimap, we see that the bomb is way out of position. It's probably in deep trouble right now, and so is Toolman, who gets taken out from the guy behind the statue. Taking a little bit of punishment here, but it looks like we're going to get a nice res on both of our squad mates there. Switching back to Toolman. Now it looks like the bomb is finally been dropped by his teammate. Didn't quite know where he was going with that. The enemy team has picked it up, and nobody is following them right now. This is a problem. There is nobody covering that lane, and they are completely tunnel visioned on these enemies here. And it's looking like the Chinese team is just going to run that one in completely unopposed. From the minimap, it looks like we finally have a couple of teammates noticing, but it's not going to be in time. Let's take a quick look at the map and see what we got going on. Yeah, nobody home down there, not even the squad that looks like they should have been able to defend that. So now you got to make a choice. Do you go back and try to defend the MCOMs in time, which you're probably not going to be able to get back there, or do you go and try to hold on to the street and get a better position for when the next bomb spawns? Obviously, Toolman's going with the second option between those two. Might be going a bit deep here. I probably would have stuck a little bit more to the street and tried to hold on to that position for my squad to spawn on, but this will be equally as useful back here as you'll be able to get in behind the enemy team. Maybe a little bit more exposed and active than necessary. I probably would have found a nice spot to just hide and stay there until my squad could have spawned on me. This would be a good time for a squad to spawn on him. One has at least taken the bait. So the enemy team doesn't know he's back here. This could pay off in the future, and you can hear that critical timer going off now, so we know that that bomb's about to explode. Toolman has to time this right though. If you jump in too early, you'll get the spawns happening behind you from the guys that died grabbing that last bomb, and if you jump in too late, then you're going to miss the action. The last thing you want is to be shot in the back by the respawns. Here comes the new bomb, let's see where it ends up dropping. His whole squad is spawned, so there's no sense in hanging back right now. Probably best to get a little bit closer to the action. Speeding up the waiting game a little bit by the miracle of editing, there's the new bomb. So right now would be a good time to either peek that doorway or possibly peek the cars beneath him and get a good shot on those enemies that are now rushing towards the bomb. So he's got the doorway peeked, and we can see on the minimap that the enemies are running away from him, so I'm not sure why he's hanging out in the MCOM area still. The bomb is making good distance away from him, so definitely should be chasing it right now. Being a little bit too cautious about leaving this area. Again, peeking this, probably not necessarily the best idea right now. I might have even considered redeploying to try and get closer to the defense point. Because remember, on a squad obliteration, the enemy team only has to get 2 out of 3, not the full 3 out of 3. So there may be some confusion going on with him right now where he thinks he has the time to actually wait. Missing these shots, we can see how you have to lead the Bulldogs just a little bit more than he was because of that super low bullet velocity. Now the US is in real trouble as the enemy team has completely taken out all of the defenders at that point, and it looks like this may be over real soon. And again, we see the weakness of the Bulldog. It might have been better to have an M416 or a Scar H on this level just to get a little bit more ranged firepower. And now after that run, we're left with only 6 bullets in that magazine, so we're going to have to tide ourselves over with a little bit of shooting. Finally ran out there, time to switch to the Deagle. Might get taken out by that grenade. Manages to take out one enemy with the Deagle. Going to be in trouble here against the rest. You can hear that critical going off, and you can see that storm of blue on the minimap, and it's just not going to be in time, and that's the end of the round. So first up in my post-round advice, I definitely have to question the hesitation in the Chinese MCOM area once the enemy team had picked up the bomb. Already down by 1, not exploiting that advantage by coming up behind the enemy team definitely was a deciding factor. Additionally, Toolman probably could have cleared a bit more before rezzing fallen teammates. There were a lot of revived trains going on that simply got shot down immediately. Finally, I'd recommend sticking to cover a bit more when you're in a competitive environment. There was at least one case where Toolman got shot because he ran into a room full of enemies. Peek in those cases rather than pushing. That's it for this episode of Over Your Shoulder. Next week I'm going to be switching gears to Hardline for a little while, but I'll still be playing both Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline. If you'd like to be featured in a future episode of Over Your Shoulder, be sure to leave me your battle log information. If you're new around here, please take a minute to check out my channel and consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, YouTube.